On January 14, 2021, this guy set out to explore an abandoned military base, only to find out it was still guarded, and before long, someone started shooting at him. He'd received classified coordinates for the base, known only on closed forums. Just a few years ago, it couldn't be found on any map. The coordinates led him deep into the forest, down an overgrown railway track that stretched for several miles. Eventually, he reached the site. It looked as if no one had set foot there in decades. Abandoned warehouses, rusted gates, old hangars. According to some sources, the base had only been shut down 3 or 4 years earlier, but the decay made it feel much older. He'd already made his way through several structures and was about to leave when he noticed movement. Knowing it was risky to be there, he tried to stay quiet and avoided using his flashlight unless absolutely necessary. While checking out one of the abandoned buildings, he heard a noise. Someone was moving toward him. When he tried to go around, gunshots rang out in the distance. Stepping into one of the buildings to catch his breath, he suddenly realized an armed man was standing right behind him. Fear and adrenaline disoriented him. He couldn't find his way out. Every so often he'd flick on the light, just enough to see, risking being spotted. He eventually hid in one of the hangars, deciding to wait until sunrise. Around 4 in the morning, he peeked outside and saw no sign of flashlights nearby. Maybe whoever was after him had left. What exactly is hidden in that abandoned military base remains a mystery to this day. In 2019, a group of 5 people who buy, renovate, and resell old homes entered a house in West Philadelphia. At first, the walkthrough seemed routine, but just minutes later, as one of them was about to go upstairs, they noticed something deeply disturbing.
Alright, here, you got it?
Yeah.
You send this motherfucker.
Where you tripping? It's not at the bottom of the step.
You think?
Yeah.
What is it?
At the step.
Oh!
Shit!
Shit!
Look at that
Yo, that straight up killed you right in your fucking head, dude.
What's this house? This house ain't this
They were shocked by what they found. Built into the staircase was a homemade trap designed to kill. If any of them had continued climbing the stairs, what was supposed to be a simple inspection could have ended in disaster. After studying the trap for a few minutes, they decided to activate it, just to see what might have happened had someone kept going.
Look at that!
That is insane.
Yo, coming right to your
that
head.
thing's got bodies.
Look at this, look at it.
Yo, that's right in your
Oh, no, hold on. more. You need to step off.
Yo, that would've got you right in your neck.
Oh my God, right in his head.
It's horrifying to imagine what kind of twisted mind would set something like this up, fully aware that anyone ascending the stairs could die. While the trap itself was simple, made from a rusty knife, duct tape, wire, and a metal piece, the mechanism was clearly engineered to launch the blade at neck height with lethal force. This wasn't a prank. Someone had intended serious harm. In an interview with NBC, the man who filmed the whole event said he'd gotten used to finding strange things in the abandoned homes he often works on. He'd encountered stray dogs, homeless squatters, even drug dens, but nothing had ever brought him so close to death, especially not a death trap deliberately hidden inside a staircase. Incredibly, despite what happened, the group still went on to explore the rest of the house. And not only that, they ended up buying and renovating it. Fortunately, no more traps were discovered. TP Urbex is a channel dedicated entirely to urban exploration. In January 2024, they uploaded a video featuring 2 young explorers visiting an abandoned middle school, William A. Wirt Middle School, in Gary, Indiana. Despite the school being in terrible condition, parts of it still reflect its former life. The auditorium, in particular, stands out. Its bright red seats offer a nostalgic contrast to the crumbling walls around them. But as the teens move through the rows of seats, they spot something deeply unsettling. A man standing silently near the entrance, gripping a metal pipe and staring directly at them. The entire vibe of the video shifts instantly, from curious exploration to something potentially dangerous.
Oh, hey, what's up, man? You want us to get out of here? Hey, we'll leave, bro. We'll leave, all right? Go. Let's go. Just get out of any of this door right here.
The man begins to follow them. The pursuit continues until the teens finally manage to run out of the building. Thankfully, the man stops once they're outside, suggesting he wasn't trying to harm them, just scare them off his turf. Still, the encounter highlights how quickly things can escalate in these environments. What started as a routine exploration turned into a brush with real danger in seconds. What made the situation even more unnerving was the man's silence. He never said a word. He simply started following them with a metal pipe, which could easily have been used as a weapon. That quiet, menacing pursuit added a whole new level of fear to an already unpredictable situation. In February 2020, urban explorer Ritam Ryder investigated an abandoned house in an undisclosed location with his fellow explorer Zet Clark. According to Ritam, the house had once belonged to an elderly woman who had passed away suddenly. In stark contrast to most abandoned homes, the majority of the woman's belongings were left untouched, suggesting that the property had not yet fallen victim to looters or squatters, who often strip such places of anything valuable. Throughout the house, the 2 explorers found everything from fine silverware to richly woven tapestries and a fully stocked bar. Judging by the calendars they discovered, no one had lived in the property since August 2018. Only a few minutes into their visit, Ritam and Zet came across something incredible, heartbreaking, and deeply unsettling.
And this is why I'm going to show you something that you've probably never seen before in a video. I've never come across it. I've always been worried about something like this happening. And then it did. When we walked in here, we took a few steps in the door and we saw this on the ground. Now, for those who can't figure that, figure out what that is a body stain. And you can see right there, there's a walker. So, unfortunately, it seems that the woman who had lived here had taken a bad fall, landed on the floor, and that's where she expired, unfortunately. It's extremely sad to us. It took us a good 20 minutes to decide what we're going to do here, and despite it feeling weird, we figured we still need to tell the story because this is a good reminder to everybody that you need to check on your loved ones. It seemed this woman had passed and was laying here for God knows how long before she was found. So check in on your loved ones, guys. It's really creepy.
Propped against the wall was a walking frame. Unfortunately, it appeared that the woman who had lived there had suffered a bad fall, collapsed to the floor, and, tragically, that was where her life ended. As Ritam put it, it's very, very sad for us. They spent about 20 minutes deciding how to proceed. In the end, despite the unusual and morbid nature of the discovery, they agreed it was important to tell the story, because it served as a powerful reminder to check in on loved ones. Sadly, the woman's body had decomposed before anyone could find her and help her. A truly horrifying way to die. There were signs that members of her family had tried to sort through her belongings after her death, but for the most part, her possessions remained in excellent condition, right down to the toiletries that were still there at the time of filming. It's difficult to watch the footage without feeling conflicted emotions. On one hand, the home was beautiful, and it was clear the woman who had lived there with her husband had been sociable and financially comfortable. On the other, it was incredibly sad to see how her life had ended. Ultimately, the footage stands as a reminder to visit your loved ones whenever you have the chance, because no one deserves to die that way. Christopher Brian Hill is an urban explorer and the creator of the YouTube channel Herc Hill. For the past decade, he has been uploading unedited footage of his visits to some of the most eerie abandoned buildings in the country. In these videos, he often finds himself in unexpected and sometimes life-threatening situations. Urban explorers like Chris face countless dangers, from aggressive stray dogs and hostile squatters to respiratory hazards and unstable structures on the verge of collapse. Stepping into an unfamiliar abandoned building is often far more dangerous than it seems. Despite these risks, Chris usually explores at night, and always alone. It would certainly be safer to explore during the day, but he prefers to do things his own way. In June 2022, he visited the abandoned Westinghouse Electric Factory in Cleveland, Ohio. Built over a century ago, the complex originally consisted of 7 separate buildings, most of which have since been demolished. For the last 4.5 decades, the abandoned plant has attracted curious explorers and, more recently, content creators. In 2012, it drew even more attention, after serving as the filming location for Black Widow's interrogation scene in The Avengers. Decades later, Chris returned to document what remained of the site. When Chris first arrived, the place seemed deserted. Only the chirping of crickets echoed through the darkness. But just 5 minutes into filming, gunshots rang out in the distance.
Oh shit, that sounds like a shootout.
It's worth noting that Cleveland ranks among the 10 most dangerous cities in the United States, making this exploration even riskier. Having experience in places ranging from abandoned psychiatric hospitals and sanatoriums to derelict occult temples, Chris remained calm as he entered the unsettling building. Like in many abandoned spaces, he found a mattress, evidence that someone had been living there, or still was. While filming the first floor and heading upstairs, the only sound in the oppressive darkness was his own footsteps. Things became even more unnerving when Chris ventured into the basement, where he found several dead ends beneath a leaking, mold-infested ceiling. He suspected there might be animals in the building, after hearing strange noises coming from below. Then he spotted several spent shell casings on the floor, likely from a 9mm handgun. Finding such items in the basement of an abandoned factory is unsettling. That said, police departments often use buildings like this for training exercises, so the true origin of the casings remains unknown. Soon after, Chris came across a series of disturbing messages scrawled on the walls. As he kept filming through the narrow corridors, the situation grew more tense.
Oh, scared the fuck out of me. Yo. You need some help, bro? Yo.
About 20 minutes into the exploration, he spotted a hunched figure at the far end of a room, silent, without any light. He offered help, but received no reply. Chris wisely decided to leave the man alone. However, things soon took a turn.
Yo. Hey, I got some money for you.
Roughly 4 minutes later, Chris decided to go back, intending to offer the man 20. To his surprise, the man was gone. His sudden disappearance carried potential danger. Squatters are known to act aggressively toward unwanted visitors. Knowing their hideouts inside and out, they can easily vanish into the shadows and reappear when least expected. Some viewers speculated that the man might have been a gang member hiding from a shooting that had occurred earlier in the video. However, this theory seems unlikely given his behavior. More plausibly, he was either mentally ill or under the influence of drugs, as he remained completely unresponsive. Continuing on, Chris noticed bats flying around the basement, adding to the eerie atmosphere. In one room, if you look closely at the far left of the screen, you can see that same man again, standing in the doorway, watching Chris from the darkness. Remarkably, Chris didn't notice him and kept walking. It's impossible to know how long the man had been following him. A few minutes later, the man walked outside. Just as Chris was about to leave, he heard a cell phone vibrating somewhere in the dark, a clear sign that other people were hiding nearby. Deciding he'd had enough unsettling encounters for one night, Chris played it safe and managed to get out of the building unharmed. He never learned the man's identity and has not released any further videos from the Westinghouse factory since.